So EU trade deal done. But wait, we were told that Trump's tariff and that whole war with that whole thing would crash the economy, right?
He is crashing the economy in real time. Costs are going up.
Have greatly increased the odds that we will have a recession because of what Trump is doing. What president walks mindlessly into a recession?
Donald Trump is directly destroying the stock market in bursts of economic policy dementia.
This is economic arson. It's not a lightning strike. This is a guy setting fire to your savings.
All these people, they're Americans, by the way, on those media networks, albeit liberals. They bet against their own interests. They cared more about Trump losing than paying less and having their 401ks worth more. But by my stock app today, everything seems to be up. These people are all pessimists. Here, look, these are the headlines. Lofty expectations. They sarcastically calling Trump the deal-making genius. Lots of uncertainty. Trump's tariffs yet to force any deals. Well, turns out Trump just made the biggest trade deal ever.
I think it's great that we made a deal today instead of playing games and maybe not making a deal at all. I think it's, I'm going to let you say, but I think it's the biggest deal ever made. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We have a deal. We have a trade deal between the two largest economies in the world.
The EU will now pay us 15% on any goods they import to us. And you know, U.S., what we will pay to them? Oh, $0. $0. That means our goods can go into the European market at zero extra cost. Just to clarify, they used to tax our cars at 10%, and they would only get 2% coming into our market, okay? Not exactly a fair deal there. Trump fixed that. Steel and aluminum was as much as 25% if we wanted to sell it in their market. And now all the things that we make here in America will have zero tariffs going to their market, making them more affordable in Europe, which means that we can sell more American products in their markets that are made here in America. Of course, all these European leaders, they're apoplectic. The French prime minister called the EU trade deal a dark day for Europe, describing it as an act of submission and an unbalanced trade deal that favors the U.S. by imposing a 15% tariffs on all EU goods while sparing U.S. imports. Yes, that's the point. Some German economist that I'd never heard of, Holger Schmieding, from some big multinational bank that I also hadn't heard of in Germany, said, complained the deal was much worse than the situation before Trump started his new rounds of trade wars earlier this year. This is asymmetric, allowing Trump a claim to a win. Yeah, it is a win. And it's about time. America has been getting the bad end of trade deals for, I don't know, like the last half century. Of course, all these people who are taking us to the cleaners are very upset about their nation's gravy train ending. But look, you had half the EU throwing a hissy fit over this. But I'm totally fine with that. I don't even like Europe that much. Like, you want access to our economy, Europe? Pay up. The entire European economy combined is less than $20 trillion. Ours is over $30 trillion. America is 45% of the entire planet's GDP. It's about time people start paying to have access to it. That's exactly what Trump has been trying to do, which is funny because in 2008, actually, the U.S. and the EU economies were almost equal. The EU made a bunch of stupid investments in green energy. They stopped investing in conventional energy like drilling for oil and stuff like that. They expanded social programs while accepting millions of unvetted migrants from war-torn countries. Oh, and they also had huge punitive tax structures. You guys want to make up that 15%? Maybe you should drop taxes on your own people. You can't have gasoline cost $7.78 a gallon like it does in the UK today and compete with an American economy where it costs under $3 for the same gallon. Most of the EU has over $3 a gallon just in taxes. And that doesn't even include the 20% VAT tax in places like the UK on top of that. The real crime is not Trump imposing a 15% tariff on you guys. The real crime is that the EU, they have like half of the EU's cost to energize its economy, its own economy, is internal tariffs, taxes on their own people. By the way, all those taxes on energy that they don't produce it there. They got to import it, which is why the EU also agreed to purchase $750 billion worth of that energy from us now. We were able to offer it to them at a reduced price of what they were paying for the tariffed and even partially embargoed energy from Russia. Also, we started drilling again, so that helps us export more. Taking away more revenue from Putin, by the way. Tell me again how Trump's tariffs don't work, right? We're now taking in $750 billion a year in all the tariff revenue globally.
The European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy. $750 billion worth of energy.
Wow. The U.S. government is taking in almost 25% more revenue annually. Yeah, you know how the CBO and everyone else, they score everything over like this 10-year margin. This bill will save, this much money over 10 years. That's $7.5 trillion more revenue in 10 years. Just for reference, that covers 50% of the Social Security burden in America over the same time period. That's the same Social Security that Democrats said, oh, we're not going to have the money to pay for it because of Trump's tax cuts. Really? You sure? Because your math ain't mathin'. Keep in mind, and this is such a G move, a lot of these negotiations happened at Trump's golf course in Scotland, where he made them travel to him at Turnberry. I wish for, 7 seconds that these self-hating liberals can just get over the fact that they were wrong and we were right and Trump's doing a good job. Look, you guys have a lower approval rating than Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? Congressional Democrats are at record lows. The media is not trusted at all, and yet you guys still double down.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.